Hello everybody, welcome to another video. All right, so today we are going to focus primarily on doing some balance work. All right, so we're going to do the easiest things first. We're going to start with the simplest things first, and then we're going to progress through more advanced exercises. So of course, as always, I'd like you to work at the level that's appropriate for yourself. You don't need to feel like you have to do everything. If some of these things are too much of a challenge for you, or you just want to work up to them and try it again later as you progress, please feel free to do that. As always, I'm doing socks, but of course the most stable way of exercising, especially with balance work, is to wear sturdy athletic shoes. So if you feel like you need that, please go ahead and make sure you have those on. If you're feeling a little bit more advanced or more comfortable for whatever reason in socks or barefoot, that is an option for you, but just be really cautious with that. Be really safe with it. Now we're going to use a couple of things here. I have the sturdy chair as always. So our first exercises, we're going to be just doing standing on the floor with the chair as support as you need it. And then we're going to move on to a few balance board exercises. Now, if you can see this, this is a Bosu, B-O-S-U. If you haven't seen one before, it's the half ball, the dome. We're going to do a few things on there. Now, I know a lot of people don't have one of these available. They're not in every household. You can use whatever you have. It's easy to get very simple balance boards online or in sporting goods stores, or even if you just stand on some towels or some books, whatever you have that's available, just to make the surface, the idea is to make the surface just a little bit less stable for you. And especially if you are standing on something like this, the Bosu, that's inflated, of course your feet are going to move when you're on it. So don't feel like the goal is to stand perfectly still, because that's not the goal at all. You are going to be moving around, and that is part of the point of it, because it's not only working on your balance, but also working on the strength of your feet, ankles, and lower legs. Now, BOSU is for both sides up, which means that it can be flipped upside down to put the dome side down, the flat side up. I'm not going to recommend that for you just because it is higher risk. These exercises, of course, can be done on the other side, on the upside down side, but again, that is higher risk. So I never recommend that for any of my clients just because I don't want the risk of falls and injuries. So that being said, please do make sure that you have some water available, that you're hydrating before, during, and after your workouts. And as always, check out some of the other videos that we have that are for strength training, cardio, yoga, meditation, breath work. All of those things, incorporate those things throughout your week. So get your complete workout on. You can split it up however you like throughout the week. And as always, please like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell if you're watching on YouTube. And if you're on Facebook, also just like and follow. Comment if you want, thumbs up if you want. That all helps the algorithm. So enough talking, let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to come up to standing. And of course, by nature, these exercises are going to be needing to be done standing. However, I'm going to move this out of the way for right now. However, you should always have a chair or a wall or a dresser or a table or something there for support. I'm going to back up just a little bit so that you can see a little bit more of the top of my head. Okay, so a couple of different things to think about when you're doing balance work. The first is make sure that you can spread your toes out. So just like you would spread out the fingers of your hand, you want to be able to spread out the toes of your feet. And if you're wearing shoes that are narrow, but you have wider feet, or you have bunions, or you have other foot problems, you want to have shoes with a wide toe box. And the majority of the shoes on the market do not have a wide toe box. So you want to go for something like Limbs or Ultra or anything that has just that wider toe box, okay? So it's not quite as cute as the narrow ones, and the narrow ones are appropriate if you have narrower feet. But if you're like me, you have large feet that are wide, plus bunions, you really want to have the ability to spread your toes out, okay? So it's going to be better for the health of your feet and also make it easier to balance. And then, of course, like I always talk about, when you are doing an exercise where you're standing on one foot, you want to shift the center of gravity from the midline which is what you're at right now. If you're standing with both feet down, like I am, right now your center of gravity is down the midline, okay? That automatically happens. But if you're standing on one foot, if you want to consciously think about shifting over to that standing leg. So in other words, your center of gravity is now, if you're standing on this leg, it's here, okay? Shoulder, hip, knee, ankle. Same thing on the other side. If you're standing on this leg, shoulder, hip, knee, ankle. And if you just mentally think about that, it'll help with your balance. One other thing that you can do when you're trying to balance is to find a focal point. So a lot of people like to look at the ground a couple feet ahead of them or off to the distance or pick a spot on the wall. Having that focal point will also help with your balance. So go ahead and make sure that you're staying hydrated. Very, very important. And let's go ahead and start. So I'm standing off to the side of the chair. I am still having some foot issues on this side, so you'll notice on my left foot that I'm not able to do as much as I can with my right foot. So that doesn't mean you can't. That's just to let you know ahead of time that's what's going on. Let me get rid of this ad. There we go. There we go. Okay. So, as always, the wider the stance, the more stable your balance is going to be. All right, so a wider stance like I have right now, shoulder width apart, toes pointed forward, that is going to be one of your more stable stances. The narrower you go with your stance, the harder it's going to get. So the very first thing to do when we're working on our balance is just to go into a very narrow stance. So now you have your feet side by side, completely together, toes still pointed forward. Your weight is still centered, you're still on the midline, but you might notice that you maybe are shifting around a little bit more. You're still just standing on the floor, but it's a little bit more of a challenge, all right? Now, as always with these things, when we're concentrating, we want to make sure that we're not holding the breath. So keep breathing through it and just get used to that. All right, so we're going to move on to a couple of split stance exercises. So we're going to do 1 foot forward, 1 foot back, as though we were about to do a lunge. And we have the toes lined, or the feet lined up. So the back foot is in line with the front foot. The toes of both feet are pointing forward. A lot of people will turn their toes outer in. So make sure you're pointing those toes forward. Now we're not going to do a lunge here. We're just going to balance. So we have both legs straight, back heels pressed down into the floor, and you'd be surprised when you let go of the chair. I bet that's harder than you would expect. All right, so this is a wide split stance. So we have 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. And you might find, again, your feet are wobbling a little bit. Good. All right. So from there, we're going to go into narrow split stance, which is the heel-toe position. So you're going to bring that back foot in. So now the toes of the back foot are touching the heels of the front foot. Now, a really good exercise that I have a lot of my clients do, I'm not going to do it here because I would be off camera, but it's just doing the heel-toe walk across the room. Sometimes I call it the DUI walk. Hopefully, they're not going to be making anybody over the age of 50 doing the DUI walk. But anyway, that's kind of what it looks like. You're walking across the room, heel toe, heel toe, heel toe. If you're outside, you can use like a line in the pavement to walk on. You can use, if you have like a 2x4, lay it down flat, you can walk on that. All of those are different balance options. So back to what we're doing here. We're going to start with just getting used to our balance in this position. Again, spread those toes out. Make sure you're lifting through your arches so that you're not rolling the ankles in, okay? And breathe. All right, so first challenge we're going to try here is closing the eyes. Now, of course, you can always use the chair or the wall or whatever you're standing next to. Use it as needed. All right, that's why it's there. If for any reason you feel uncomfortable with the eyes closed, please go ahead and just open the eyes. Good. All right. Let's open the eyes now, and we're going to do our rotation. So I do this a lot, and it's just changing the plane of movement a little bit. So we're turning the shoulders and head away from the chair. Now immediately you're going to notice that that 1 foot, that back foot, It's struggling to stabilize. Go ahead and turn as far as you can and come back to the front. Now keep breathing. I'm going to reset here before we rotate inward. All right, so turning the other way. Good job. Okay, come back to the front. You can do that as many times as you want to. If this is your first time doing the balance exercises, I would just do one set of everything so that it's not so tiring that it causes your balance ability to decline. But if you've been doing a lot of balance exercises, you're good at it, go ahead and do multiple sets of these. All right, so we are going to move on to standing on one leg. All right, so we're not even going to do the tree pose. We're just going to shift the weight to that inside leg and then pick up the outside foot. Now again, remember, now we're shifting our center of gravity over here. This is the point where you're standing on one leg. Your center of gravity is no longer in the midline. But again, with that standing foot, spread those toes out, lift through that arch. You can tap that back toe down as much as you need to. There is no shame in that. If you need that extra support, or you need to leave it down all the time, but just with the majority of your weight on the standing leg, that works fine too. All right, now I'd like to do the drinking bird, but we're going to do the regular version, and then we're going to do a challenge variation, okay? So chair or wall or whatever you have, as much as you need it. So what this is you're going to be reaching the outside hand towards the inside foot and stretching the outside leg back. So we're going to reach for the toes. You don't have to use your support if you don't need it. And then come all the way up. All right? We're going to do that one more time and then do the challenge version. As if this wasn't challenging enough, right? Okay, outside hand towards inside foot. Stretch the other leg back. Come all the way back up to vertical. All right, so the challenge version is going to be adding just a little bit of extra rotation here. It's really going to make that ankle and foot have to stabilize. So this time when we reach, we're going to reach toward the center of our chair if we have that, or whatever you have. You're just rotating inward and come all the way up. Now let's do the rotate out. So this is going to be a challenge. Use your support if you need it. See how far down you can go. Oh, wow. There you go. Come all the way back up. All right, great job. Shake those feet out. Now again, if you are really good with balance, go ahead and do multiple sets on that. If you're not feeling fatigued and if that's not excessively hard for you, do multiple sets on that. All right, so moving on to the second side, we're going to do all of our floor exercises before we move to the Bosu. All right, so starting again, this over here, I'm going to move this Bosu a little bit more. There we go. Okay, so starting again with our widest stance, all right? So just like we were talking about for the first side, easiest stance is the widest stance, shoulder width, toes pointed forward, weight is centered, fairly stable there. All right. Second position is to bring the feet in close together. Get rid of the commercial here on your music. There we go. All right, second position, feet all the way together. So completely side by side on your feet, and you're going to start to feel that extra challenge there of having that narrow stance. Don't forget to breathe. Keep breathing through all of this. Good. So get used to how that feels. All right, and then moving on, we're going to do our wide split stance. So again, it's like a lunge position. Make sure you have the opposite foot forward this time of what you had last time, all right? So make sure that you're not just doing the same side twice. Again, we're going to line those feet up in a straight line. Toes are pointed forward, heels are down, legs are straight, torso is up tall. We're not actually doing a lunge. This is just for your balance. So spread those toes out. Make sure the ankles are not rolling in, and see if you can let go of whatever you're standing next to, chair, table, whatever. But if you need it, it's okay to use it. Keep breathing through it. Okay, now let's do the narrow splits, or the narrow heel toe stance. That's the word, heel toe stance. All right, so again, you have that option if you want to do it at home or outside, doing that heel toe walk, the DUI walk. If you do it, make sure that you don't go real fast. People will speed up and do it real fast, and also make sure that you completely bring the heel in to touch the toe. So you're not just walking, you're actually heel toe across the area that you're going. I hope that makes sense. All right, so again, we're going to start with just seeing if we can let go of our support. If you need your support, go ahead. It's okay. First challenge is closing the eyes. Again, if you have any reason not to close your eyes, please just open them immediately. You can do this with the eyes open the whole time. Keep breathing. Okay, go ahead and open the eyes, and we're going to do our rotation. So again, first one is rotating out. We're turning shoulders and head. So everything from the hips up or above the hips is turning as far as you can. You're going to notice the increased challenge there. Come back to center. Keep breathing through it. And then turning the other way. Again, just going as far as you can. Take your time with it. And come back to center. All right, shake those feet out, and we are going to do that standing on one foot. So again, we are going to the inside foot, bringing up the outside foot. So center of gravity is now over here, shoulder, hip, knee, ankle. This is my more challenging foot. So go ahead and spread the toes out, arches lifted. Most people have one side that's easier than the other, so you might want to note that. Maybe do a little extra work on the side that's not quite as confident. Good, so torso up nice and tall. You can touch the toes down at any point if you need to. You can use your support at any point if you need to. All right, let's go ahead and do our drinking bird. So remember this from the other side. First part is just reaching the outside hand towards that inside foot, stretching the outside leg back. I'm going to go ahead and use my chair for support, but if you're feeling great, come on up. If you're feeling great, you do not have to use your support. All right, especially if you have shoes and you have lots of sturdy support there. Let's do one more right at center. Reach, reach, reach. And come all the way up. All right, let's do our challenge one. So first one is rotating in towards your chair, whatever you have. Reach. Come all the way up. Good. Now, reaching out. So this is the most challenging one. Rotating away and reaching down and up. All right, great job, everybody. Shake out those feet. Grab a drink of water. All right. So one more thing before we move to our Bosu. I want to just do heel raise, toe raise. So you can just go about hip width apart for this. The idea is that we're going to lift through the arches, lift through the ankles, keep everything nice and aligned, and get as much range of motion as we can. So heels and then toes. Now you don't have to use your chair. If your balance is still feeling good, good. Just get as much, try to come up on your tiptoes when you do the heel raise. And then try to come all the way back on the heels when you do the toe raise. Another great variation is just doing this on a stair, a step of any kind. Just make sure you have something that you can hold on to if you need it. But letting your heels drop below the edge of the stair, so putting the front half of your foot on the step or the stair, and then letting the heels drop down also gives you a really nice Achilles stretch, as well as getting increased range of motion for those heel raises. All right, so we are ready to move on to our Bosu. Now, I'm not going to do anything really fancy with this. All all right, because I want you to be safe, but I'm just going to show you some different options for it. So the first option, again, we have the dome side up. We have something to hang on to if we need it. The first option, oops, I am too close to the camera. So you can put this next to a wall if you want to have that to hang on to. In fact, I would recommend that you do that. I'm not going to do that just because moving the camera would probably not work that well. So first option is just standing with the feet about hip width apart, is about as wide as you're going to be able to go. So giving yourself a little space here on this one. Now again, just like I told you earlier in the video, don't expect to stand still. All right, your feet are going to be moving around. So if you think that the goal is just not to move at all, you're not going to be able to do that. All right, so it's kind of like standing on a waterbed. It's inflated. So the whole point is that you are moving around, your feet are moving around, you are strengthening through the feet, the ankles, and the lower legs, as well as working on your balance. So expect a shift side to side and front to back. Now again, please be safe with it. Stand next to something you can grab if you need to. And again, if this feels like too much for you, or you don't have anything available, just go ahead and skip this part and do the parts that you can do. All right? So again, shoes are going to be the most stable, but if for whatever reason you want to do it or need to do it in socks or barefoot, that is an option too. Okay? All right, so that is the very simple 2-foot stand. Now we're just going to do the split or the heel toe stand on here. Okay? So you notice that this one is a lot more challenging. Again, please be next to something that you can hold on to. Shift your weight around as you need to. Make sure that you're breathing. All right, go ahead and carefully step off. We're going to switch to the other foot in front. Again, if this is too much and this is just above your level, you do not have to do this part of it, but if you're feeling great and you want the challenge, you have a balance board or some books, some towels that you can stand on, go ahead and do that. Now, I have not done balance work very much for a while, and it's showing. This is a challenge. Feet are going to be moving around a lot, all right? Whoop. Reset there. All right, go ahead and step off of there. Okay, so catch your breath. If that felt kind of crazy, catch your breath. Again, if you are feeling great, awesome, this was not unreasonably hard, then go ahead and do multiple sets if you want to. Next one I want to show you is just standing on one foot in the center of the dome. So this time you are putting the standing foot in the center of the dome, all right? So right up there on the top, coming up, and if you want to do a tree pose, you can. Whatever works for you. I'm going to keep the other foot down, but if you're feeling awesome with your balance and you want to have the non-standing foot up, you can do that as well. Again, shoes are going to provide the most stability. Make sure that you have a wall or a chair or a dresser or a table or something that you can use to help you. Woo. Make sure you're spreading those feet out. Don't pinch the toes together. All right, let's go ahead and do the other foot. I think I'm going to move my chair over here. All right, this one might be a challenge because this is the unhappy foot. All right, so right in the center with the standing foot. Remember, this time we're putting that standing foot right in the center of the dome. Another thing to keep in mind is how inflated is your balance board. If it's super squishy, mine is starting to get a little bit squishy. So if it's squishy, it's going to be more of a challenge than if it's really firm and inflated. Okay. Now that's kind of also a personal preference. Some people like a little bit of softness to it. Some people like it to be more firm. Again, if you're feeling great with your balance, really, really stable, and you want to bring that outside foot up into a bigger tree pose, go ahead and do that. Otherwise, just stay right here using the non-standing foot as a little bit of support on there. I'm going to give this foot one more try. Okay, so go ahead and shake those feet out, and the last thing I'm going to give you to do on this is the lateral step across. So this is something that I have my clients do quite a bit as a fall prevention technique. All right, again, I would recommend that you move your balance board in front of something that you can hang on to. Usually I have them so that they're facing a wall, okay? But you can do whatever you have, if you have a dresser, whatever you have available to you. So what you're going to do is be laterally stepping side to side across the top. So this time, when you put the first foot up, you do not want it in the center, you want it further over so you have room for your second foot to come up. So here's what it's going to look like. You're going to step up, again, you're over past center, you're going to come up with the second foot, and then down and down. So both feet come all the way down. Do the same thing going the other way. So step up, step wide, second foot up, down, down. All right, again, up, up, down, down. If you need a wall in front of you, if you feel any kind of really wobbly, or maybe this is just too much, either put the balance board next to a wall, or again, if you're not feeling comfortable with this one, or you want to use a less unstable surface, go ahead and do that. Modify as you need to, okay? Work at the level that's right for your own body. I just wanted to give you the idea of this. I usually have my clients do this about, depending on their level, up to 20 times. It might be less. If this is really a challenge for them, it might be less, but this is a really good fall prevention one. I'll explain why in just a moment. Last one. All right, so again, you can do as many of those as you want to. You can slightly increase the speed if you're feeling really balanced. If you're feeling not so balanced, slow it down. Take your time with it. The reason it's fall prevention is because it's giving you the sense of stepping onto or off of an unstable surface. So for an example, if you're out walking, you accidentally step off a curb, the idea is that you're training your body to catch yourself, all right? So things are gonna happen. Dogs are gonna pull you, you're gonna step off a curb, you're gonna trip on something. No matter how careful you are, eventually there's gonna be a case where you're gonna have to catch yourself. So the idea is to keep you from falling. The idea is for you to be able to do a little quick step, a little quick hop, or a big step, whatever keeps you in that instant moment from going down. All right, so the goal is to work on the balance, also working on the leg strength. Of course, that is in one of the strength training videos, but giving you the ability to, when you trip, not actually fall. That's the goal of doing the balance training. So all of this work that we just did was pretty much not only for you to be more balanced in your body, but to prevent falls. All right, we don't want to fall down. We want to be able to catch ourselves and not get hurt. So that was the whole point. Let me move this guy out of the way. And it is time to do one quick little stretch as we are at the end of our video. You made it all the way to the end. And if you've watched any of my other videos, you know my favorite stretch is the modified downward dog, so we're going to do that. It's exactly what it sounds like. It is the downward dog without going all the way to the ground. You still want to be pressing down through the heels, pressing the hips back, lengthening through your back and shoulders. Great job, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today and going through these different balance exercises. Let's do our final stretch. Inhale. Exhale. Let's do that one more time. Make sure you're continuing to breathe deeply throughout your day. Awesome job, everybody. Thank you so much for doing this workout with me today. I hope that you found some of these exercises helpful. Again, as always, work at the level that's appropriate for you. Challenge yourself. It's just start where you are and then work up from there. So I hope this gave you some good things to work on. Again, please check out some of the other videos. Make sure that you're doing different type of workouts throughout your week in some form. Whatever modality, make sure you're doing a variety of workouts. And again, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I will see you in the next video. Have an awesome rest of your day. Bye-bye.